Sup, Soup? This is Nick.
Crispy.
And Tyler.
And collectively, we are Weeb Soup.
Whee!
And on this episode, we're going to be closing up the trilogy of our origin story with more the Western media. So we're thinking things like Disney, Marvel, DC, so like Warner Brothers, and Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and all of those. So this could be like live action movies, all the way down to those shows that we grew up on and might have had an influence in how we got to this spot. So, as far as that goes, personally, I watched a ton of Cartoon Network growing up. I think that was probably my most frequented channel, as it was channel 54 up here in Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
On cable. And I literally would go, wherever I was like, yo, you want to watch, like, Ed, Ed, and Eddie? Or Billy or Billy and Mandy.
Oh, man.
Or, like, all of those shows that actually had, like, kind of more of a, I don't know, more of a wild or chaotic approach to like cartoons and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, like some of the distortion and some of the way the facial expressions worked and the golden age of Cartoon Network was kind of way more creative, in my opinion, as far as like what they would do with it to make the characters work, as opposed to something more like Danny Phantom or something where unrivaled as an amazing show on its own, because like Ferdinator had their shit together.
Oh yeah,
like their action sequences over there were second to none as far as that goes, but they kind of were always a linear form. Like their characters never really broke outside of their very distinct character traits and stuff like that. They didn't really break out of that. Their face was their face.
Yeah.
And they kind of had more of the same approach as what you see in the Eastern stuff, where that is there unless they have like a crazy animation section where it stretches form and stuff like that. But
more for action sequences.
Yeah, right, exactly. But I digress. But like, well, you had shows like Courage the Cowardly Dog, Ed, Ed and Eddie, and Billy and Mandy that all had like almost horror-esque. Right, or you have like horror-esque elements and stuff like that added to it, and it seemed like it hit different.
Yeah,
it did.
And that's not to say that there weren't similar traits in other shows, but you frequented stuff like that more often in Cartoon Network shows. And personally, I think my favorite from Cartoon Network was Ed, Ed and Eddie. I mean, I've never watched a show from one end to the other, even like as an adult now, and just been like, what a wild ride for everybody involved. How is this even a thing?
His parents took his stairs.
Because he was grounded.
That's disturbing. Like, the things like that, you're like, what?
Eats a slide because there's a pebble at his shoe.
And,
wants to turn around on a tree stump, so he picks up the whole tree stump and turns around with it.
Yeah, but then it's closely followed up by, like, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Billy and Mandy, and Courage as being like the next three that I liked, and like and Kids Next Door, and then you get into like 16 and Total Drama Island and all of those. Like, no, like everything that was on when I was going through like middle school or from elementary to middle school was heat.
Oh yeah.
And then they changed it up a little bit, and now like ever since Adventure Time, they've kind of all the shows look the same now.
Yeah.
Like, they're all kind of on the coattails of a similar animation style as that. And then you have, I believe the same producers made Steven Universe and stuff like that.
Yeah, Rebecca Sugar split off and went and made Steven Universe after midway through Adventure Time.
Yeah, which is totally cool, because Steven Universe is another great show.
Oh my God, love
and I'm very glad that Adventure Time and their properties all ended up on Cartoon Network, because then we got regular show and shit like that, too.
Yeah.
And that's that was like the tail end of my adventures with Cartoon Network, and that was like the last little point there that I wanted.
If we got into Adventure Time, Steven Universe, and regular
That's
show,
a whole different
I
thing.
could do a 30-minute, hour-long talk all by myself.
But otherwise, with movies, I just remember watching a lot of sci-fi films, like the film adaptation of Lost in Space. And then, like, Titan AE.
Oh, man.
Oh, you talk. Oh,
I've seen the cover for
man.
that one.
That
you need to
movie
see that
is
one. If you have not
fantastic.
seen Titan AE,
Highly, highly suggest. If you like
Big
Treasure Planet,
suggest.
you will love Titan AE.
it's basically Treasure Planet, but in space.
With the creators of Anastasia, or the artists for Anastasia.
Yep.
Oh,
And it is beautiful.
don't know how
It
I
is.
missed that one.
And then like other ones like Iron Giant.
Love Iron Giant.
Iron Giant's a solid film. And then
Not to Vin Diesel.
oh man, and then like the Riddick series is one of the movie series that definitely threw me where I am. Like it's sci-fi.
Right.
I think beyond any of them, in my opinion, as far as sci-fi goes, that kind of like influenced me for the rest of my life, and probably the last little highlight that I'll steal here was Alien. 20th Century Fox gave me the most horrifying creature that could be imagined, in my opinion. Like, the thing's nuts. But anyways, that's a whole other video on its own, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, the 20th Century Fox properties with those universes, like Predator and Prometheus, those titles, fantastic. And I would recommend those. Literally, if someone goes, what's your favorite movie series? We've got an adventure. But
it is a fantastic movie series. I finally got to sit down and watch them all, thanks to him.
Oh, yeah. And then you
it
just
is-
finished the first AVP. I would say still
Yeah.
watch the second one, but
uh,
don't pay the
Mine.
think of it of the DMC of the Alien versus
yeah,
Predator universe.
kind. It's not like a
Okay.
reboot or anything though. It is definitely the ugly little stepbrother. But I would say, just don't mind the slasher stereotypes that you get with the plot.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like the Alien universe dropped into a slasher world. Everybody's a teenager, everybody's trying to fuck, and then everyone dies. That's the
cool.
That's the deal there. But other than that horrible plot, they introduced some cool aliens. They introduced some cool ideas, and
the Predator.
really,
I'm really excited to learn about that one.
and one of the coolest like adaptations to the entire franchise. With that, I wish that it was actually like a part of the Alien cinematic universe. But, anyways,
I've only seen Alien like 1, 2, and part of Prometheus, so I was a little lost there. But Western movies and shows growing up, I know in in the anime, how we got into anime, I covered a lot of the Warner Brothers shows that I watched, and Pokemon, Digimon, stuff, Yu-Gi-Oh, stuff like that. So I tried to push it into like more of the Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network world. And then just random things. I have a terrible memory for all those at home. My memory's god awful, but I did come up with a few things. So obviously into like baby shows like Barney and freaking Teletubbies.
I couldn't get into them, man.
I don't even
I
remember
loved Barney
being in
growing
them.
I distinctly remember having like a violent reaction to Barney's presence,
Really?
and my dad was actually telling me once that I refused to stay in the same room with anything that had Barney on it. I hated it.
Weird.
Like, fucking, I have no idea. Like Teletubbies, I'd watch passively. It wasn't really Blue's Clues.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Blue's Clues.
Blue's
great.
Clues
Yeah.
was my kid's show, bro.
Same. I loved that growing up. That was.
Yeah, but that's like real baby stuff. After, I think it was after a Barney phase, I moved into Space Jam.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely love
I
Space
wrecked
Jam
that
with
movie,
the Looney
bro.
Tunes. Yeah, I would watch it.
I played the
repeat
brakes off of that
over and
thing.
over again. Yeah.
That
VCR.
was
I'm surprised the
actually my
VCR
first
never
movie.
blew up in my face.
Really?
Yep.
That was your first movie?
That was my very first movie because I was an
nice.
infant. I got fussy at the theater, and Mom was going up and down the aisle with me.
Pretty sure my first movie was Pokemon 2000. No, I don't remember now. I would have to look.
I have no
I
idea.
know that
I would have to
I'm
be
sure.
told.
I'm sure that my mom or my dad would remember at this point. They'd be like, "Oh wow, yeah, I remember." Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, Space Jam, and then going down to our unfinished basement and just freaking rocking the little tyke soup and just throwing down some nasty dunks for like a 4-year-old. It was crazy. But I digress. After that, it was Power Rangers, the show. I knew you were going to be in for that.
Oh man, I
my-
am.
My aunt gave me she had been into Power Rangers younger, and she gave me a pink Power Ranger, so that was my one Power Ranger toy, was the pink Power Ranger.
That's awesome.
And so I'd watch Power Rangers with my little pink Power Ranger, and watch the movie. Obviously, the first movie was great, and the first series was wonderful. Kind of dropped it after Mighty Morphin, but watched it for a while.
I never watched
Up
that
to a certain
much
point,
Power Rangers. I don't think that I've ever consecutively watched any of their series to myself.
Oh.
Really?
I know
It was worth
seen
it.
plenty of them scattered around, and I've watched a couple of the movies,
Yeah.
but I was never really as into it. Like I remember particularly that's kind of where I fell in more on the Toonami end of things. I was watching I was definitely watching from early exposure of anime. I was watching more of that already.
That makes sense. Yeah. I tried to stay away from any anime influences, so this is, well, obviously Western media.
Yeah.
But after that, it was Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man being on Disney Channel, and I think it was Ultimate. Yeah.
I think I remember that one, yeah.
I was trying to remember. I think it's Ultimate Spider-Man was on there. And then the Spider-Man movies, the trilogy, mostly Spider-Man 1 and 2 with Tobey Maguire.
Oh yeah.
Spider-Man was my first superhero that was like, yes, that guy is awesome.
The
Like,
very first desktop I ever had when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I had it was like brand new that they had DVD players in them.
oh yeah.
And so I had Spider-Man and another movie, and I used to just play those all the time.
Oh yeah, they were fantastic films.
I can't remember what the other one was, but Spider-Man one I watched on that particular tower. I was like, oh, I got my first computer. I'm gonna wear this disc out.
Oh yeah. Freaking between Spider-Man and then X-Men and X2, I became a huge Marvel nerd from a young age. Not really as much from comics, but more from movies, just because of the 2 Spider-Man movies I kept on replay and the 2 X-Men movies I kept on replay. I became more of an X-Men fan than like God, I'm blanking. Not Justice League.
Like Fantastic
Avengers.
Four. Oh, okay.
Sorry. I became more of a X-Men fan than an Avengers fan because I started moving and vibing more. Nightcrawler was my favorite X-Men, and especially X2 with that first opening scene with him going crazy in the White House. And there was an X-Men show that I watched too. I forgot.
The animated series?
Yeah, the animated series.
I'm sure those were going to get brought up. Like those, like Justice League and the X-Men animated series, and all those were
right.
Like Batman.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Watched the hell out of those.
I watched a couple of the Batman movies, but Spider-Man and X-Men were definitely the 2 that I really vibed with, and that's kind of sent me into, now that we have an expanded Marvel universe that I just can't get enough of.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely set me up from a young age to kind of get into it. Finishing it off, I have the Harry Potter movies because I read them I read the books in like 5th grade, and then I caught up on all the movies and couldn't get enough of it. I'm a Hufflepuff. I have a robe and everything. I have my own wand.
I need to get a robe.
I've got a bunch of Slytherin stuff, so that's cool.
Heck yeah.
I'm like the true Gryffindor in the house. I have a sword upstairs.
Nice. Besides that, it was just kind of an assortment. A lot of the shows you talked about from Cartoon Network, SpongeBob, Doug.
Ooh, Doug.
Doug was great, and the movie was awesome.
God, I need to rewatch that. That was
And Hey Arnold.
Hey Arnold, yes.
And Rocket League. Or
Rocket Power.
Rocket Power. Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot about that one. Rocket Power was. Oh, I couldn't get enough.
While we're going that old, I want to throw in Static Shock.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
Static Shock was so good.
forgot.
Man, that I remember that
Made
actually.
WB11 cool.
Oh, man.
Oh,
That
yeah.
Osmosis
Fantastic.
Jones.
Osmosis Jones. That was one of the first movies I'd fall asleep to
Did you
every
ever watch
single
the series?
night. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great series.
I love Driz.
But that's all I got. If you want to take over, Chris.
I had a similar response with Cartoon Network. My more so was with Code Lyoko.
Oh, definitely Code Lyoko.
That's
That's one
opening.
of those openings that just gets stuck in your head
It
as soon as you
does.
mention it. The moment you mention it, it's.
I remember coming home one day. I had like a really crappy day at school. As soon as I turned on the TV, Code Lyoko starts playing. I'm like, all right.
Pretty hard to be upset whenever
Yeah.
that show came on.
Right.
It made everything so much better, and I went from there to Shaolin Showdown, and had a
That one was a
fantastic
good one,
time with
too.
that. That heavily influenced the anime.
And then Mucha motherfucking Lucha!
Dude.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I completely forgot about
The Flea!
The Flea was my favorite. Oh my god.
Y'all remember Jackie Chan Adventures?
Hell
Yes.
Forgot
I
about
remember
that
getting
one.
on.
yeah.
I think they had their own little site because it was its own little separation of Cartoon Network and the Mucho Lucha pinball thing.
Oh, I played that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There was also another one that was I
Mucha
think
Lucha and those shows also ended up on WB for a while, too.
that's probably what
I
it
think
was.
that's
It was like,
mainly where I watched it at was WB.
yeah.
And then Johnny Quest. Or Johnny
Ooh.
Test.
Johnny Test, yes.
Oh, yeah, all the Boomerang shows, too. Johnny Quest. I watched the shit out of those, too. Not
Jetsons.
as much, but I definitely had a decent exposure to it, and I had Boomerang on a whole lot.
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
the Flintstones was my jam out of those
Flintstones
cartoons.
was
Oh,
great.
yeah.
The old
Jetsons.
Hanna-Barbera ones, I loved the Flintstones. I watched that one from one end to the other, and I remember that was like one of my earliest cartoon experiences that I watched from episode 1. I don't remember what the last episode is anymore, but yeah, that one, and I did watch the hell out of the Jetsons too. But the
Shortly
Jetsons
after
was a little
I-
bit more far-fetched.
Finished from Flintstones, I went into Scooby-Doo and I just fell
bro.
hardcore in love with it.
Scooby-Doo,
I was gonna
yeah.
say, and then
Dude.
there's a whole other ball field with Scooby-Doo and all of that franchise. I've
then
watched
the
and
movie.
consumed.
Oh man, the first two
The,
Scooby-Doo
well, the
movies were
live-action
fantastic.
movie.
Oh,
and
with Matthew Lillard.
Zombie Island
Yeah.
and the one where they get sucked into the computer game.
Cyber
Cyber Chase.
Cyber Chase, yeah.
That one and the Area 51 movies were my
Yeah.
favorites.
The one with
I
the
love
Witch
those
Sisters.
two. Oh,
The Hex
yeah.
Girl.
How did I
Yeah.
even forget? I think that one actually kind of shifted the way that I saw women for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And everything about my aesthetic choices kind
Yeah.
of come from that kind of watching shit like that and being like, oh, I like the darkness.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
But I think that's
That's
it
all
on
you
my
got?
end, man.
We're running close on time now. We're at around 17 minutes.
Yeah.
So I guess we can close it up. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you thought about, what your Western choices were, what you guys want to hear about. And if you haven't noticed, there was a theme to today. Go back and rewatch. Yes.
No one tells me anything.
Beanies. That was the theme.
Glad I know
Did
now.
you notice the beanies? Because I certainly did. See you next time on Weeb Soup.
Go put on your beanie.
It's cold out. Keep them ears warm. Like a hot shower.
Put it on.